Hey guys, welcome to Bev's Repair Bench. Today we'll be printing one of these with this. A while back, I was trying to print some carbon fiber PLA with a hardened steel nozzle, and that nozzle was not working at all for me. So I left a pretty blunt review. I said that, it really wasn't a good nozzle. I don't know if it was defective or what. And the next day, the seller contacted me and said, look, will you give us another chance if we send you another nozzle? And I said, sure, why not? I am a sucker for anything that I don't have to pay for, which I guess I already paid for it, so this is just a replacement. But we'll get it put into the FL Sun, and we will try to print one of these fire helmets. The one we're going to print is going to be a little bit different. This one's been personalized, and I made a few little tweaks to it so it'll print a little faster and a little better. So let's go ahead and get this nozzle changed out. Okay, so like everything with the FL Sun, I'll be doing this from a host. Let's go ahead and go to manual control, and we will preheat the extruder to 200. I'm not very particular about the host that I use. I do like Face and I do like Repetir. The thing that I like about Repetir is actually whenever you are printing, and actually I think it'll stay here. I just find that the ETA stuff is a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier. I like how they prioritize that over just about anything else. Face, I really like the excluder in Face, but I do have some usability issues with it. You pretty much seem like you're stuck with, oh, you might have grayed out the wrong area or something like that. Well, you're done at that point. You kind of stuck. So I do tend to stick with Repetir for the FL Sun. All right, we're pretty close to preheated now. Let's go ahead and actually raise that Z up. I'll probably end up just tossing this brass nozzle because I've only ran, I think, 2 prints through it, which is actually about 8 hours of print time. But with that carbon fiber, I'm already noticing, especially whenever I try to print regular PLA, it has a very weird kind of texture to the finish, a little bit rough. So it's definitely taking its toll on that soft brass. All right, let's give it 50 millimeters. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. Uh, it does extrude filament, and it's doing it at 200 degrees, which is, a standard PLA temperature. So let's go ahead and get into the host, and I will pull up my Fire Helmet V2. Okay, so we've got our bed and our extruder preheated. The bed is 50 degrees C, extruder 210. Let's go ahead and start this print. This is why I always run 2 laps of skirts, because I can kind of get a prime going in, and then I'll normally get a decent bit, about 1.5 loops of actual extrusion. so I can see where my heights are, and these actually look pretty good. Now the first nozzle would fail almost always within about halfway through with the second layer. Now that was a different part we were printing. This is actually printing a raft. So, you know, I didn't do enough experimenting to see if it was a certain amount of filament that got extruded through it before it started doing it or anything like that. I just know that it wasn't printing as well as the brass was. So we're just going to kind of let this one rock and roll and see if it stops and if it doesn't. Okay, we're on layer 5 and looks like we're doing pretty good. We're still extruding. By the way, whenever I do this, what I'm doing is I'm actually kind of putting my thumb and forefinger on the top of the PTFE tube and just very gently pinching on the filament just to feel that it's actually pulling it into the extruder. Because even though the wheel is turning, it may not be pulling through. And with most filaments, it's really hard to just look at it and tell. So a quick little pinch like that, I know it's feeding, good to go. Okay, so this is layer 22, and you can see we're starting to actually get into the structure of the helmet, and the nozzle still seems to be printing pretty well, so I think I'm about to go home and eat some lunch and come back in 2 hours, and hopefully we'll have a finished product to show off. Alright, so we've got about an hour-ish left to this print, and I mean, it is looking fantastic. I mean, the finish quality looks great. It's obviously still extruding filament. That's a big plus. And I mean, it's at 200 degrees. I was not expecting this nozzle to run that good at 200 degrees. Normally, steel nozzles you have to run hotter. I am running a 50-watt heater cartridge that may have something to do with it. But I mean, it's running very, very well. Very impressed. Okay, so admittedly, I got a little impatient and I didn't turn on the camera to actually break the print off of the bed and off the support material. But actually, it came off really, really good. All I did was do a little bit of pushing with the scraper, and I was trying to get the entire print off, but it actually came off the supports, and actually just everything went really well with it. So it was almost anticlimactic, anticlimactic, however you want to say it. But print quality with this is really good. The only area that needs improvement is the bottom, but that is my fault. That is not the nozzle filament. Nobody's fault but mine. I think what I did for the first one. Hang on a second. There we go. For the first one, I ran a really tight, basically solid pattern on the interface. And on this one, I ran a 2.5 millimeter spacing. I think I'm going to have to go and tighten that up. I may try maybe 1 millimeter. I opened it up because I didn't want it to stick as well as the first one did. And also, it saves a lot of material and time. So I'm going to go and tighten up that interface material. And I'm going to add, trying to figure out where I want to add my watermark at. Normally, any print that I design and I'm planning on hopefully doing a lot of, I like to try to put a watermark. I'm thinking I'm either going to do it on the bottom of the bill here or maybe somewhere inside of this hollow marker. Just real quick, between these two helmets, you can see that this one has a recess with embossed letters on it. This one, I decided to do something different. I just put the recess, and I actually printed the badge separately, and I'm just going to glue it in. So a little bit more tweaking on the badge. I think it needs to be a little bit larger. It does kind of float inside of that space a little too much for my liking, but that's easy because this is just a 5-minute print. And that's kind of my thinking behind it, is that I can print, 10 of these and have them all stacked up ready to go. And when people start buying them, it's only going to take me a couple of minutes to print out a personalized little badge, glue it in, and have it ready to go. And that little personal touch, that always people really enjoy that. Especially whenever you can do different colors, different fonts, things like that. It makes something theirs rather than just buying it off the shelf. And here's just a close-up of this print. You can see a really good finish on it. I love this PLA, and this nozzle seems to function really well. You can see here the kind of roughness along the bottom, but that's fine. That's something we'll work out in the future. But really impressed with this print. Alright, so to finish this video off and to get back to the actual point of it, these nozzles, I'm really impressed with them. The first one that I got, it obviously must have been defective or somehow picked up a piece of trash. I really don't feel like it would have picked up any trash in it, because I think that would have either been a permanent clog or it would have worked its way out and worked fine. So honestly, I do think that one was defective. But this one obviously works really well, has great print quality. I'm going to put a lot more hours on it to see, with that carbon fiber filament, to see if it does wear as quickly as the brass does. I really doubt it will, because it's hardened steel. But printability is great on it. I was really impressed with the fact that I didn't have to go and actually raise my temperature up. Before, with the defective nozzle, I was trying to print it at 240 degrees and still could not get it to work. So if you're interested in this nozzle, I will put a purchase link in the description below. I will also go and update my review to reflect that I did actually get a working nozzle, and they do have really great customer service. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it sparked a little bit of interest in this nozzle and shown that, if you do complain, that there are people out there that will help you. I hope you enjoyed the little fire helmet. If you're interested, I guess drop a comment and I'll see about maybe making a few. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all later.